the perfect retirement! You! I did a tribute video to you, Brock! I take it all back!
24 hours removed from Brock Lesnar coming out of a self-imposed retirement at WrestleMania, 3 weeks later, he has attacked Oba Femi, the guy who put him in retirement. So, I processed it. I slept on it, and I have 3 pros on why it's a good thing that Brock is back in WWE, and 3 cons, 3 reasons why it's bad that the Beast incarnate has returned, and then we'll do some hot takes. The first pro is because it gives Oba Femi an actual storyline. WWE has done the open challenge to death, so by the time it got to Oba Femi, it was kind of played out.
The Sami Zayn U.S. title open challenge. It is my duty to continue the open challenge.
Do you plan to continue the open challenge?
I'm gonna keep it going.
So anyone who is in the Rumble, if you are brave enough to come down here, face me in a match.
Brock Lesnar's open challenge. I want to be a fighting champion.
Pick anyone.
Ladies, if you think that you are championship material, then come at me.
I issue an open challenge.
As from today, the Oba Femi open challenge will commence.
I'm down for any sort of challenge. Now's your shot.
And that's just since last October. Oba Femi shouldn't be doing something that everybody else is doing. Plus, it gives Oba Femi a babyface, a mountain to climb, an adversary to overcome. That's what baby faces need. Stone Cold Steve Austin's career wouldn't be half as memorable if it wasn't for Vince McMahon, Bret the Hitman Hart, The Rock, because those were adversaries that Stone Cold Steve Austin had to face. So now Oba Femi has his Joker, and that's the Beast. The con, though, is they ruined the perfect retirement. Seriously, when Brock took off his shoes and his gloves, his boots and everything, it was like, oh my gosh. I am not a big Brock Lesnar fan. I haven't been since he was beating up a one-legged kid in front of his mom.
Over the years of... Oh, wow, there. See this happen so again this week.
I was actually feeling some kind of way when he was retiring. And I was like, all right, Brock, I respect this. I respect this. You put over Oba Femi on the way out. It was picture perfect. And now he's back 3 weeks later. It's like, he's not the first to do it. Ric Flair had the perfect retirement, and, well, he came back and wrestled in another company. Shawn Michaels had the perfect retirement, and, well, he came back and wrestled in Saudi Arabia. So, by no means is Brock the first to do it, but it doesn't make it better. Just because other people spoiled their retirement doesn't mean spoiling your own makes it, justify it. The second pro, though, is Oba Femi can prove that it wasn't a fluke. If Oba Femi beats Brock again, well, then it wasn't just luck. He didn't catch him off guard. And you might be thinking to yourself, no way, no how. You're going to let Oba lose the second match so he can set up a third match at SummerSlam and then retire Brock. And then Oba Femi can have 2 victories over the one that Brock has. And I'm like, remember Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins? Those guys had 3 matches, and Cody actually won all 3. So it's not unheard of to do 3 matches where only one guy wins. In fact, if Oba wins match number 2, maybe Brock gets so mad that he says, give me one more match, and Oba's like, nah, I already beat you, I got nothing to prove. And then Brock says, I'll put my career on the line. So we do have a possibility in which Oba Femi can prove not only that it's not a fluke, but get 3 victories over Brock. And that's enticing. The flip side is that even if he gets the 3 victories, it does diminish the WrestleMania moment. WrestleMania moments live on forever. So when we go back and we watch Oba Femi beating Brock Lesnar and Brock retiring, there's an asterisk by it now. Whenever we go back, we're going to say, wasn't that cool? Wasn't that cool? Yeah, he showed up 3 weeks later. So yes, great stuff. It was still, in that moment, it was perfect, but now there's an asterisk. It kind of spoils the memory. The third pro is that it could allow other people to get the rub. If they still want to let Gunther be the guy to retire Brock Lesnar, well, now Gunther has an opportunity at it. Or what if Brock just isn't retiring this year? What if Brock has 5 more matches in him? That means there's 5 more people that could get the rub. What if I told you the plan was for Gunther to beat Brock, LA Knight to beat Brock, Trick Williams to beat Brock Lesnar, Penta to beat Brock Lesnar, and Jacob Fatu to be the guy to retire him. That's 5 people. Now, you might think that might never happen, but what if it does? What if Brock now is just going to put over everybody he faces from this point forward? And so, like, would it be selfish of us then to be like, only Oba gets the Brock Lesnar rub? Let's just space it out. Let's just space it out. John Cena lost to Dirty Dom before he lost to Gunther, but it didn't diminish Gunther's victory. And the third con comes from Drexel Dragon. Brock coming back just further conditions us not to get emotionally invested in anything. How are you going to leave your gear in the ring, cry, and break character, shaking fans' hands, and then come back a month later? I think that's legit. So last night on my One Take One Shot review, I literally said, you know what? I got worked. And it is WWE's job to work the fans. They want to trick us. They want to give us these great moments. And sometimes, you know, we all know that wrestling is a work. So what's the problem when they do work us? However, there does seem to be some unspoken things you don't do. It does kind of betray trust and resentment just to get a cheap pop. And I wonder if this falls in that category. Kind of like when Seth Rollins faked an injury during an actual match just so he can have his cash-in at SummerSlam. Some people love that. And some people thought that that went a little too far in betraying the trust of the fans. But what about this situation right here? Was it too far? Does it train us to not get emotionally invested? Does it train us to be like, yeah, just be too cynical? Because yes, we did get the moment, but does it hurt the overall product even more? Because now when we're supposed to be sad when somebody like AJ Styles or John Cena retires, we're like, yeah, but they might be back 3 weeks later. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he got injured in the ring? Probably fake. Don't worry about it. He's probably just gonna, it's just part of the story. Like, now we're jaded and we don't know what to trust. You tell me, is that good? Is that bad? Is it just part of wrestling and we should just shut up and enjoy the show? Or are there some unspoken lines you just don't cross? And faking a retirement is one of them. Let me know in the comments below. And bonus, when you do comment, you get a chance to win this belt on my shoulder right here. At 30,000 subscribers on my quest to quit my day job, I'm giving it away. I'm shipping it anywhere in the world too. So if you're from Australia, I will ship it to you. Bangladesh, I will ship it to you. Mars, I don't know. Has Elon Musk got us to Mars yet? If he hasn't, if there's no mail service to Mars, anywhere on planet Earth, I will ship it to you. Boys, girls, it's not a toy. It's a replica, and it can be yours. Just comment and subscribe. All right, let's do some more hot takes. Andre Bryan says, way to go, WWE/Brock, to ruin your retirement match that shocked everyone. Yeah, like I said in one of my cons, it did ruin that moment. It ruined that moment, and not just that, but when Brock Lesnar does actually retire, let's say he does retire at SummerSlam, it's like the moment's passed. No one's going to believe it. It's going to be like, oh, okay, maybe. Like, legit, when he does hang up his boots and gloves for real, nobody's gonna really care. He is the boy that cried wolf. And I'm sure me calling him that, he's just probably shedding a bunch of tears and wiping them with his dollar bills. I get it. He doesn't care what we think, but at the same time, okay, I'm okay that he doesn't care what I think. I still think the things I think. Arrow Noir says, Roman is obviously the heel, right? How else do you justify a 3-on-1 beatdown? I don't think anybody cares at this point because you're right. There's no way you can do a 3-on-1 beatdown and be considered a babyface in any other era, except for now apparently, because the fans were loving it. Last week, they're all OTC, but then they're like, one more time, when Jacob, he puts them through a table. I think the fans have no idea what they're chanting. I think they just start chanting things. Did you hear what that guy's saying? I'm going to chant it too. I don't know if they're even watching the show. MGT Wrestling says Brock is probably going to win at Clash and they will have their rubber match at SummerSlam. I think that's the general consensus, that Brock wins. But like I said, Cody beat Seth 3 times in a row. What if? Tiz Mickey says, wait, so they cut the LA Knight Gunther storyline, moved Gunther to SmackDown, and Brock really didn't retire? I think what Tiz Mickey is saying here is, wasn't the favor like gonna be Gunther wanting Brock in a retirement match, but now that Brock's back, Like, why did we waste that favor? Yes, that favor, 100% wasted now when Gunther went to SmackDown, but it was wasted before. Gunther straight up did not need to use a favor to get to SmackDown and get a match against Cody Rhodes. Jacob Fatu just went to Raw and said, I want a match. So you're allowed to just cross brands. On top of that, Cody Rhodes says, easy to find, hard to beat. You can walk up to Cody, say, I want a match, and Cody will be like, okay, let's go. Major Mario says, am I the only one scared for Oba? I don't see Brock losing twice in a row. Well, don't forget what I said. Cody beat Seth 3 times in a row, but I could definitely see Brock winning here. But here's the thing. There's no shame in losing to Brock Lesnar. I don't want Brock to win. Like, for real, I would be perfectly happy in this life if Brock never won another match in his entire life. But that said, from a very impartial point of view, there's absolutely no shame in losing to Brock Lesnar if you look at his career. Just Call Me D says, this was an amazing episode. LA Knight got featured in 2 segments. Yeah, can you believe it? LA Knight, 2 segments, and he actually was making a lot of sense. It's like LA Knight's the only guy that remembers things. He's like, why are you guys attacking like you did back in the day with the Bloodline? That's how the Vision act. And now you're acting that way? And then he goes to Seth, I don't like you. You're gonna get beat up tonight unless someone helps you. I'm not going to help you, though, because I don't like you. And then he just bounces. Why did he even show up to work? If you think about it from a kayfabe perspective, LA Knight shows up to a wrestling program where he doesn't wrestle at all. He just smack talks people, and then he leaves early. Like, I kind of wish I had that gig. WrestleDon says, the laziness of bringing Brock out of retirement is an example of the laziness of the entire creative team and is why I haven't been able to sit through an entire episode of TV in a long time. The product just isn't doing it for me anymore, or right now. Yeah, you know, it's like, it's just so weird. Why would we bring him back after just 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is? There's a part of me that thinks maybe Brock did actually retire, but then they came to another agreement, a deal after the retirement. Because why take off your gloves and stuff? Like, literally, if Brock had just lost at WrestleMania, right, and he didn't take off his gloves, he didn't fake a retirement, that was it, right? We would have moved on. And we would have just assumed we wouldn't see Brock again for months. Brock could have done the same exact thing last night, and while, no, it wouldn't have been as shocking, it still would have been shocking, because we probably wouldn't have expected to see Brock again until July. But we would have saw him last night out of nowhere. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's a part of me that doesn't think that creative came up with the original idea of the retirement. Brock went into business for himself, but then money talks, and he was like, okay. And then creative then should have waited. I'm not going to lie. It was a great moment last night. It really was a great moment. However, I personally feel the moment wasn't worth that WrestleMania retirement. That was such a good retirement. Dreams Once a Week says, bro, I'm sick of the tongue and death grip. Yeah, he does spam it a lot lately. It's like every chance he gets, it went from never seen it in 20 years to see it 5 times in 5 minutes. W Potato says, when Brock returned, I was talking to my dad about how Oba Femi retired Brock Lesnar. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I think I was talking to somebody the other day about how Brock retired. And now I'm going to have to go back to them like, yeah, you know what I was talking about? Just kidding. It's OTW. My boy Austin Theory never gonna get over. Still wondering why bro shaved his skull piece. Yeah, you know, that the Vision has like done nobody any favors. I even think Logan Paul's star has diminished from the Vision. And while Austin Theory wasn't really doing anything before, it's like, it felt like, oh, they were just booking him bad. They weren't putting him in high prominent spots. So now they put him in a high prominent spot, and it's like, ooh, maybe he's just never going to get over. Kid Wilkes says it's hard to take Jacob Fatu seriously as a monster following the way he lost at Backlash. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's any shame in losing a Roman. Wrestling Cash says the amount of roll-up finishes is getting a little ridiculous, or is it just me? Not only is it not just you, but one of my favorite YouTubers, his name is Simon Miller, and they happen so often that he'll always call them the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment because they're just like roll up, roll up, roll up. Tracy Wood says, why didn't the Usos and Roman go after Jacob's fingers? Can't do the death grip with broken fingers. You're absolutely right. I never thought of that. Why doesn't he? I mean, Jacob Fatu is even putting he's reminding everybody because he has tape on them now even. So just I don't know, maybe find Pete Dunne and get him to go after those fingers of his because yeah, just take out the fingers. Jimbo Slice says, Jey Uso looked like he was 10 years younger today. Dude's in great shape. I think the pressure of being a main eventer took a lot out of him. I also think, though, when he became a main eventer, Roman Reigns wasn't around to keep him motivated and locked in. Now, that's just me theorizing, but sometimes you are at your best when you have somebody kind of pushing you. Nike Fan says, WWE is running the risk of causing the fans not to believe any wrestling retirements with all of these fake retirements going on. Honestly, if wrestlers aren't given a life-threatening injury, up until recently, I don't think wrestlers ever actually retired. Even Mick Foley, when he was retired at Royal Rumble, 3 weeks later, he was announced to be in the main event of WrestleMania 2000. I'm not justifying it, but I'm just saying that this is definitely not a new concept. I Love AEW Wrestling says, has WWE run out of good ideas for Finn to do? Why is he still feuding with the Judgment Day? I don't understand why he's feuding with the Judgment Day. I did a video just 2 days ago, storylines that make no real sense or plot holes, and it's why is Finn still fighting the Judgment Day? He's already beaten every male member. He beat one of them at WrestleMania with his final boss character, the Demon. There's literally no reason for Finn to continue this fight. There's not even a championship on the line. All right, boys. All right, girls. See you, bye.